Okay, this is another fairly simple one. If you've been following along with my Abyss guide so far, you probably have most of the characters you see on your screen. The core one of which is going to be Diene. How this fight works, you simply need to have a knight on your team. Pretty easy because you're just going to play Adventurer Ras because Abyss All-Star, everyone has him. He's an amazing knight. Why wouldn't you play him? But the second requirement requires that you need to land 5 critical strikes over the course of a game on Cecilia while having 4 or more buffs. So Diene is obviously going to be the best character for churning out a lot of buffs, keeping up a lot of buffs very quickly. She has 3 unique ones. She has a crit resist buff, an attack buff, and a barrier. Raz, who we already talked about, has a defense buff and an immunity buff. So between the two of them, you have 5 buffs. So after that, I just need to figure out what other characters I want to put on the team. Taranor Guard is usually the one of the ones that is immediately at the forefront of my mind because he just does a lot of damage. He's a defense breaker. He provides your team with a bunch of combat readiness, which allows you to cheese teams pretty much for free. Cecilia was a red character, so it just kind of was like a no-brainer. Like, I'm already playing Raz, right? He has color advantage. And then Diene, when she doesn't have her buffs up, is moving very fast and cycling turns with her S1, which means a lot of chances to proc the extra dual attack chance provided by Taranor Guard's S2. So it just made sense to play him. So in the last slot, we could play pretty much whatever we wanted. We chose Schuri because, again, Bloodstone for extra healing, also gives combat readiness pushing. You could play a lot of other things here. You could play like Bomb Model Kanna on Bloodstone if you don't have Schuri built because she gives a speed buff. She has dual attack chance stuff, things like that. There's a lot you can play here. But yeah, you could even I theorized having a other team for this. This is actually the first run. I literally cleared this on the very, very first try, and you'll notice looking at Cecilia, she has the immunity and the defense buff up a lot. That is one of the weaknesses of this team, is it can't really deal with that. But we just brute force through it anyway and win. But I was theorizing that if this team failed, we were going to take regular Schuri out and replace him with Kitty Clarissa because she has an S2 strip and provides that same dual attack synergy that I'm looking for with like Raz plus Kitty Clarissa. The problem is you'd lose all the combat readiness from Taranor Guard since you can't double stack warriors. But I theorized that Blue Luluca would probably be a very solid DPS in the slot because she provides 2 buffs of her own, defense and barrier. She also has a defense break on her S1. With her EE equipped that gives you a chance to double up on S1, you're essentially kind of taking extra attacks when compared to Taranor Guard because you have the option, like the chance to actually hit twice, which is really, really nice. You obviously won't be moving as fast. You won't have the combat readiness pushing. You won't be able to get as many turns, but your turns should be more substantial. You should be hitting for more damage. So if somebody wants to try that out and let me know if that team works in the comments below, feel free to do so. But I do think Blue Luluca is one of the better ones you could pick for this. But yeah, otherwise, it's just very straightforward. You just go in as hard as possible on Cecilia. We get the weakness with this team set up very, very quickly, so now it's just a matter of bursting it down, and it's just standard fare. If you've got the Soul Burn with Raz, you throw it out. If you're afraid of taking a ton of damage from the ultimate, you use the S3 instead. Everyone just uses abilities on cooldown whenever it's available. I mean, I could have S1 there, even though I know I couldn't defense break because of immunity. But again, we want the combat readiness push. That's all that really matters. More turns equals more damage, equals more healing, equals more buffs. So there's not really a reason for me to not throw it out there. Like the S1 literally is just a small amount of CR and Raz, and there's not even a chance I remove the immunity. I should point out at this point, I am playing Anti-Magic Mask on Taranor Guard. It's not necessary. I thought it would be much harder to get weakness than it actually was. I actually got it fairly quickly. So honestly, if you were to play like maybe Daydream Joker, even if it's at half effectiveness, or even like Victorious Flag, it would probably end up being better in the long run. I just used my anti-magic mask because, again, this was the team I originally theorized would work, and to my surprise, it worked on the very first try. Yeah, I used the defense buff with Ras there because I had a feeling Schuri was going to take more punishment, and I would rather not lose a member of my team because I like to keep the engine running. S3 for the souls. No lucky dual attack on that one. S3 for the fact that it's AoE, so it heals more off Bloodstone. There's the dual attack. Like I said, I really do like this team in general for Abyss. It's very clean. And now, since we survived that, we probably win here the second we survive this last little AoE. And there you go. Free win. So now, as always, let's look at the actual gear. First up is Ras, I believe, who is on the same gear he's been on for the last several of these videos. It's still junk. If you have better gear, by all means, go for it. The run will get easier if he's a lot faster. Schuri is, again, on the same level of gear. Again, run gets faster with better gear. Obviously, Bloodstone for the extra healing. Let's take a look at Diene. My Diene is okay in terms of speed. Rod of Amaryllis is kind of mandatory for her. And then we have Taranor Guard, who is on the same gear as all the other videos. Rage set with a little bit of effectiveness. Anti-magic mask, again, is not necessary. I just thought it would make it easier. Alright, hopefully this helps.